Good evening, everybody. I think we'll get this, call this meeting to order. And if everyone would like to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Yay. So has everybody had a moment to look over the agenda? So any changes, or should we get a motion to approve the agenda? Motion's been made. Is there a second? Second's been done. Keenan? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's move on to our minutes. This is the meeting minutes from last meeting on May 4th.
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
It's been moved. Minutes have been accepted from last meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Richard. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Okay, so Mr. Gallagher, do we have any updates? Or
Yes.
something you'd like to speak on?
Yeah, we have a few things. One is I'm still trying to get together with my ESD coordinators. We need to develop more of a formalized communication plan with the community because of how we had to shrink the list of promises down. And there's certain hoops we have to jump through, and I need them to advise me on what those hoops are. So we're still working on that. Also, the board did approve the priority list that the Bond Oversight Committee recommended to them and approved last time we met. And so that was officially approved. There's still lots of excitement in regards to the vocational, or I like to call it the CTE building. CTE stands for Career Technical Education, and will house all those programs. A lot of interest generated with that. I've now personally met with all three commissioners, county commissioners, and they're excited about it. And they have requested that they be present for any ceremonies that we associate with our new vocational or CTE center. And I think that'd be great. We'd love to put something together at some point. We'll just kind of keep you posted on that. Of course, we'd want to have you guys there also. Hopefully the press will be there. Don't know if we can do that to begin or at the end. Also, we're very excited about the kitchen and cafeteria. I think that's going to be a wonderful community center for us, to hold community meetings. I had some training that actually Tim France and I attended recently, put on by the state. They're combining a lot of different state reports, multiple into just one big report, and which they're requiring that we have community involvement in the process of developing our continuous improvement plan and things of that nature. And so having a kitchen cafeteria facility would be perfect. Have a little spaghetti feed and invite them to come and lend input to the process. So we're really excited about that center, as well as all the other things that are associated with it. Keep in mind with the HVAC, we're going to be able to use some of our ESSER grant funds. And I need to nail down an exact figure, but it's not the 300,000 I was estimating last time. I think it's closer to 230 to 240,000. But still, there'll be some money there that we can devote to our HVAC system, because it's all under the auspice of air circulation and air quality. And this is a common application throughout the nation of ESSER funds, which are the federal funds that are there to help with the COVID situation and those sorts of things. So this is a common application of those funds. Windows, we're continuing to look at some options. I actually Shirley found a grant the other day. I think we're going to try and apply for. It's about 100,000 a year. That will start to get us rolling in the right direction on windows. So we're going to be looking for alternative funding sources for those. And we're excited to see where some of that may go. Also, Keenan has been looking at some safety aspects with our windows, especially in light of the recent unfortunate school shooting. That we need to be looking at that. We have a lot of exposed windows to parking lots and things of that nature. We may have to shrink the size of the windows and also help to reinforce some of those windows with some things that Keenan and I are looking at. So that is still on the table there. There was a question last time about fire and safety aspects of the new vocational or CTE center. And Keenan's been researching that. In fact, he was looking at some things today about integrating our current fire system and alarm system in our main buildings with that. And there might be a few things that we need to purchase in terms of updating equipment and things like that. But we're definitely making sure that that will be a part of the project. At the last budget committee meeting, the budget committee approved the allocation of some unassigned funds that were really assigned to or under the auspice of facility improvements. It was 467,000, something like that.
400 and something, yeah.
Yeah, some change to the bond project. So keep in mind that we have a little bit of a gap there between what Scott Marshall has outlined and what we need. And we think with the ESSER funds and what the budget committee did the other night, that we've significantly closed that gap. And so that is really good news for us. And we'll see, it all depends on where the bids come in and what prices and things of that nature. Unfortunately, we're all concerned about the increased costs of supplies and materials and shortages and those sorts of things. So we'll just have to work through those the best we can. I'm anxious to hear Scott's report today because I'm still waiting to see a timeline. We had some construction people on campus day looking at some things with Keenan, and we hope to be breaking ground here very shortly and moving forward with this project as quickly as we can. But it's one step at a time. Other than that, that's really all I have to present.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Marshall from CB, is he available
He
for
should be.
updates? Awesome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Scott. We just can't see you. Hang on,
Let's see if
Nathan's
I
doing
can-
something.
I have limited controls. Let's see here.
Well, while Nathan's trying to get your mug shot on the screen, you want to go ahead and start with your presentation?
Sure. Yeah, so I talked with Derek. I've been talking with Derek here the past couple weeks since our last meeting.
And Derek is who again?
Derek's the owner of CB Construction. And the way that this is going to work is that CB, now that we have the designs, they're in review, and they're starting to bid and get costs. The CMGC's job is to start putting together the construction schedule and costs, because they're the ones that are responsible for facilitation of arranging the subcontractors, getting bids, doing those sorts of things. So I will address the general program update and project administration from the design aspect side now. And then Derek will talk about costs and schedule. And then we'll kind of basically loop back together as when construction starts, because that's when, because he has his set of responsibilities and I have mine. So when the construction starts, we'll group back together. So, so the comprehensive conditional use, it's done, it's approved. I've not received the official letter yet. I've been calling them and emailing them. I guess the person who does that
Yeah,
think we're
Scott,
having
can you hear
connection
me?
issues.
You're fading in and out, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Derek. I can't hear him either. I'll send him a text, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Scott and Derek should be able to start the video now.
Okay.
Well, while we're waiting for Scott to get back on, this is Derek Howard with CB Construction.
Hi, Derek.
How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Great.
Good. I could just dive in here and kind of go through my part of the discussion here. So, yeah, we were on site with a few contractors, subcontractors today, and just checking out where the hallways go in, fire panels, electrical panels, that kind of thing. And it was definitely a productive meeting in terms of some future ideas for the fire alarm system for the school. And we'll send that over with some notes after tonight. So we have the hallway is out to bid, and our current due date for the hallway bid is next week, Tuesday. And I don't think we're going to have any problems getting that part bid out. It's not too extensive. There are a couple of questions on it, but I think we'll have a number by the next board meeting next week on the hallway project. The VOC building, we have it out to bid, but we're going to push the due date back a couple of weeks based on supplier input on their ability to get us equipment quotes for electrical, HVAC, plumbing. So that's kind of our hang up on the VOC building currently. It's a really odd market right now from a subcontractor base. People are just extremely busy, and we're making lots of phone calls. We're having some success, but it's definitely not what we're used to, especially with schools. There's traditionally been quite a bit more interest. And so we're going to take the next few weeks and really hammer down on dialing in the interest with subs and make sure we get the school good coverage. Schedule wise, we're looking at having the hallway complete this summer so that it's a plug and play once all the electrical equipment comes in. There's some concerns about lead times for switchgear, the generator. We're working with Scott and the electrical engineer to look at an alternative to the generator. So our Cooner Electric is who we have selected for the main power upgrade. And they had a really good suggestion on the generator for a couple of reasons. First reason is the generator is specified, we can't get it for over a year. Second reason is if the power goes down at LC and the generator goes down, you're still out of power. There's no redundancy in the system. And so working with Cooner, we came up with an idea of what if we have 3 generators, smaller generators, and it costs the same amount as one large generator.
Okay.
They're
Time out.
readily available.
Time out.
Yep.
Time out. Scott,
Yeah,
are you
go
on?
ahead.
Scott, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Why are we hearing about a generator? I thought we had canceled that.
No, the generator's always been part of it.
The generator is going to cost $1 million is what I was told.
The whole electrical upgrade and generator has been part of the project.
So when you
If
say
we-
electrical upgrade, that includes a generator.
Right, the power service upgrade, the infrastructure, the transformers, removal of the poles, getting our transformers up to where they need to be, and the generator is all in that number.
So is that in the budget?
So we had estimated $500,000 for that. It came in at 750.
That was discussed.
for, that was the amount that the electrical contractor had proposed for his costs, and we need to see what the GMP is through Derek.
Okay, am I in the dark on this?
No,
No.
it was talked about the last meeting. It was like 750,000. But now he's saying, if I'm getting this right, that it's going to take over a year to get that particular generator, and they're thinking of 3 small generators.
That's my understanding.
And will 3 small generators be able to?
As long as they can daisy chain.
So
switch off?
what I was going to explain with that is, with one large generator, you have no redundancy in the system. With 3 smaller generators that have equal capacity when all 3 are running, you have redundancy. So if one generator goes down, you still have power to the school to run functionalities of the school. Plus, the smaller generators are much more readily available. And so that was kind of the catalyst for the discussion was, here's an alternative. The cost of this is the same. It adds redundancy to the system. If the power goes down for whatever reason, maybe you don't have to run all 3 generators at the same time based on the usage that's happening in the building. And so there is potential for energy efficiency with that aspect as well.
What about
No, I-
complexity?
Yeah, I've sent that. I sent the proposal to our electrical engineer, and he's
Generator
reviewing
run the
it.
whole school.
He has a couple, I just got this email back an hour
We
ago,
have 3.
and he has some concerns with some NIC electrical code issues. So we're exploring it further. It's a good idea, and it may be possible, but my electrical engineer wants to basically vet it out to make sure that it's like a feasible, good solution. So I want to kind of maybe put that on the table until he comes back and gives me a report, because, you know, there's like you had said, there's a concern with complexity to the system. And there's maximum amperage that if you one generator needs to come online, how does it know when to do that? And there's some control issues. So he's diving into it to see if that's actually a possibility, and if it would work like theoretically we intend it to. So
Okay, so why don't you keep us updated on that then?
I will, absolutely.
So are we keeping the one big generator in the background in case the feasibility flops on the 3 generators? Because that is an incredibly complex control program to get those things to daisy chain in depending on load levels.
And that's what my electrical engineer has concern with. And there's different voltages for different portions of the building. The VOC building has different required voltages for equipment. And so how do you have it's complicated, as you know.
So Scott, is the 750,000 just for the generators? Is that the
No.
entire electrical upgrade?
That's the entire upgrade.
Yeah.
Looking
It's
at your
it's
budget that
Yeah,
you
I don't have it in
presented.
front of me.
Yeah, like you
On
Yeah,
the
said
it's-
last
backside of the
time.
report.
Goes on the
Yeah.
backside.
it's the subcontractor's bid
Power service upgrade, what came in at.
for the upgrade and the generator. Does not include
Okay.
the consumer's power costs, nor does it include the general conditions. And whatever CB's responsibility is for, like excavation and those sorts of things. So CB's putting that overall number together.
Is there a building figured out along with this? Would be one question. We can't just put these generators out in the cold.
What's this?
Actually, you can.
Okay.
Can
They
you?
typically come with their own housings.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, just some sort of shelter. I didn't want to get blindsided by that. And was it me? I go scrounge up 2 or maybe 3 old Army 40 kW generators and it just handle it. But that ain't new, that ain't pretty, and la la la. Probably wouldn't work. Be a lot cheaper though. I can get those off Iron Planet for 5 grand. You know, and they'll smoke them other ones, so those 40,000 watts. But anyway, just a couple of minor suggestions. I'll mute myself again, okay?
Thanks, Chris.
It's not a bad idea. GSA excess, we could get generators for the cost of shipping them to us.
I guess I was of the understanding that the generators were taken out of the deal. So I'm a little perplexed as to why we continue to pursue this.
What
So,
did you think?
so do we, so I'm going to go back to the original question. Do
Sure.
we feel that we have to have generators for backup power? How often does it?
That we want to remove generators because they're considering the school as an emergency. That everybody comes here.
Okay,
That is why we.
It's a local,
They're also talking about rolling power outages in the future for fire danger and stuff.
okay.
So there's
That would make
the
sense.
need
then.
for that as well in the late fall.
That would
early
make
fall.
sense. Okay.
But the other piece of that is we don't need that big generator right now,
Right,
even though we have to spend the funds for it.
right.
So if it doesn't show up for a year,
For a year, yeah, absolutely. We could wait that year. Well, I'm interested to see what the engineers say in terms of the 3 smaller generators versus the large. I understand the idea about redundancy
That's what a generator is redundancy for the main power.
for the main power.
I mean,
Mhm.
that is your redundancy.
Yeah,
So you really need redundancy on top of redundancy.
right, right.
Very
And
good
the
point.
the complexity.
on top of
Yeah,
Being
it.
having a
I'm a little-
generator at all. is
That's
being
my
redundant.
biggest concern.
Yeah, I'm a little
Got a
concerned
point.
about that too.
well, and to answer your question, when you spend your first winter through here, you'll notice we do lose power.
We lose
frequently.
power.
Oh, we do.
We do.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
see, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
we use portable generators at OSU all the time. They're
Uh-huh.
just plug and play. So if power goes out, you plug it in.
I think they're just talking 3 though. Just as a fact.
Right.
I still think personally think we should still be, whether we get it now or 3 or the big one in a year, we still set that money aside.
Yeah. If that's built in the budget,
Only because that was promised.
right.
And it's
I just have a
important to
concern
power
about
backup.
the 3 units and
Sure.
trying to get all those to,
To sync.
I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah. So they're working on it. So we'll wait to see what Scott comes back with on the generators. Sounds like we have ample reason to pursue the generators.
Mhm.
Now, Scott, will these generators power the entire school building or just certain parts of it?
Okay, so we did a cost benefit analysis. We had a pretty thorough discussion about, what portions of the building do we want to emergency backup? What portions of the building, what functions need to be capable of running? The Cascadia event kept on coming up over and over when we were doing our design. I guess there's a fear of the road, basically getting covered and power going out and everybody being stranded in the valley there for a week or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the intention that the school would be where, people could go to safe harbor.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a cost benefit analysis, and because it's a retrofit, if we were to we looked at putting a light or 2 lights and an outlet in each room, and then having a panel that's an emergency backup panel that would lower the ampacity. By the time that you add up all of the infrastructure, all of the extra circuits that you'd have to have. So for example, if you had a classroom and you had a panel that fed that classroom and 3 other classrooms, and you had a light and you had a couple plugs that were available in that classroom as emergency backup, you'd have to run conductors all the way from the source to power those specific ones. So after all the infrastructure was done to run emergency power retrofitted, which would be new circuiting, not utilizing the existing building circuiting, the cost of doing that with a smaller generator was about the same as a bigger generator to just do the whole thing. Because there's less infrastructure if you do the whole thing, because you just basically power the main panel and you're done. There's not a lot of conductors. There's not a lot extra. There's not extra circuits that have to run to every room. They're not rewiring 1 or 2 light fixtures a room. So basically simplifying the system as far as from the power panel downstream would cover the additional cost for the generator to just to power all of the existing infrastructure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so how many watts are we talking?
So the new service is 2,000 amps. And the reason is because we're going off of the diesel boiler. So all the power will be electric. And the generator will be able to cover all of that. So the power output of a generator is kind of like an exponential curve. When you hit a certain point, the cost per amp goes down a little bit when you start getting big in the generators. So the generator will cover what the calculated load would be for a standard use of the school. So when you calculate what the overall load of a school is, you're allowed a certain factor of percentage that you can drop from if you had everything on in the school at the same time. And so because it's not feasible to have, all the lights on, all of the HVAC going on, everything plugged in, everything running the saw, running the paint booth, everything at the same time. So there's a percentage that you get as an allowance. And so the engineer is calculated so that when you are utilizing the building on the generator, it would not be any different from what you would normally use it as.
Okay, and how many watts is that? I know we're installing a 2,000 amp service. Was that what we need to generate in the generators?
200,000 watts at 100 amp or 100 volts. So you got 2,000 amp service at 100 volts. You multiply those two together to get watts. Yeah, 200,000 watts. Them 40,000 watt generators, you need 5 of them. Yeah, that's what it says. It's where the math is.
I'm a dumb architect and I'm not very good at math, but I hire good electrical engineers. So I can't answer that question outright to you.
Okay.
But I can find out if that's what we need, if that's the information we need.
E equals I over R, but please do check me. And that's only a ballpark. That's 100 volts, not 110, 120.
2,000 amp service is most likely 220 as well.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I think when it was discussed before, if I'm not wrong, the generator that he was talking about would be capable of running this whole school.
Yeah,
That was my understanding.
Yeah, I'm just asking
Yeah.
what they're estimating in terms of
We just-
watts.
And
We
it,
have to think
it's
about
diesel.
being reasonable about saying, well, no welding during a power outage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, we're talking,
And it's diesel run, right? It's diesel run. And it's,
Scott, did you decide diesel or propane?
Diesel.
and so it's just like an automatic switch over, like my house, my husband on the outside of my house, he plugs in our generator and does a switch and the whole house is
I'm
run by
sure
my,
it'll be a system like
but
that.
it'll be,
Takes over itself.
I just gonna kick over.
There'll be a pause.
So we're not that fortunate, but ours worked out pretty good.
Sometimes we don't even notice.
When yours kicks over.
Yeah.
Oh, you have one. How nice.
I worked on a guy's house just short of Paloma that had one of those. It was really trick. If the power goes down, automatically turns on the generator and switches it on, run on
Yeah.
Like
propane.
awesome.
That's what I've.
You never even had to fill up the gas. It just, you never know what happened.
Okay,
Yeah, this system has an automatic transfer switch that detects that, and it's a seamless operation. So Keenan doesn't have to run around the back and flip a bunch of switches.
that's nice.
Okay, so Scott, keep us posted on that.
Absolutely.
So who's up next for presenting, Scott or Derek?
Why don't you keep on, go ahead, Derek, and then I'll pick up mine because I got cut off.
So yeah, sorry to throw us off on a tangent there for generator, but it was just an option that we were looking into from timing and redundancy, but we'll just keep exploring it and see what the engineer has to say. So our schedule is basically get this hallway bid wrapped up, put a GMP together for the hallway combined with the main power upgrade because it kind of go hand in hand. And then get the project started in June this month after the kids are out of school, and then have it wrapped up by the time, well, before school starts next year. So it's just a plug and play system when the equipment finally comes in for switchgear, generators, all that. We have the hallway set up to just plug in the missing equipment and it's live. The VOC building, I think right now, tentative plan, we're working on the master schedule for both projects. Tentative plan is a construction start date in May. It's probably going to be about an 11-month project based on location complexity. And so it will be going through the school year. The main thing that we want to do is get concrete and framing and the building dried in before the rainy season hits this fall. And beyond that, we'll work with Scott and you guys on the budgets for all the projects and figure out from there what we're able to fit in for future phases.
Derek, just so I'm hearing you right, the hallway and the panel room are the only things being done this summer, correct?
Completed this summer, but we're completed this summer, but we'll start the VOC building this summer. And I'm sorry, not May. I'm way off. July start date
Okay.
for the VOC.
I'm sick. You're going. Whoa.
There's a lot of people holding.
I was about ready to raise my hand.
Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. Yes, I got my months completely off. Mid-July, late July start date for the VOC building, and then complete by May, June next year. My apologies. Sorry if I
So I just want to,
anybody out there.
for the record, I just want to reiterate, starting the VOC building July of 2022, ending when?
May of
May
May.
to June of 23.
2023.
Some of that depends on the size of subs that we get for the project, and we'll be able to dial that in much more closely once we have sub trades locked in. But we'll have a tentative schedule for you guys into this week for both projects.
Okay, that's what I've been looking for.
Are we looking at doing heating and cooling this summer? That was one of the big pushes, that boilers. Yeah, it's potential.
Yeah.
Another winter.
I apologize, I can't hear who's talking in the background.
Oh,
Excuse
hang
me,
on,
Derek.
hang on.
The HVAC, is that gonna be done this summer?
We are working on wrapping up the design. And we'll get that thing out to bid here shortly.
So is that solid potential? It will be done this summer?
It'll be started this summer for sure.
So I guess one of the missing items, Scott, that we're all chomping at the bit to see is a timeline. And
Right.
when certain
Yeah.
projects are starting and when they're predicted to end. We feel like the earth is very big in the window right now. And we have to make strategic plans. So, it'd really be helpful if we can get that timeline sooner than later.
I would almost
Totally
Yeah, and
understand.
prefer to see. the
that's on
HVAC a
me,
Priority over the VOC, because we'll miss so many
Mhm.
days of school for not having appropriate HVAC
Heating,
done.
the boiler not working, yeah.
So the main, the critical path item here is that we can't energize the new HVAC system without the new power.
Right.
And so right now, and I'm trying to get a revised timeline from CPI for getting their transformer. They're saying that the transformer won't deliver for the new power upgrade until December. So we can go in and we can install the HVAC stuff and get it all ready and wired up. But as far as flipping the switch to integrate it, it can't happen until the new service is online, because right now the power at the school is over 100% capacity. So we can't even fake it.
So why is CPI saying December? For
Because the transformers that like pad mount transformers, like those big green boxes, for some reason they're manufactured has slowed down or stopped because of COVID, and so they're trying to catch up orders, and so they've turned into from a 90-day lead time to a 190-day lead time.
Wow.
I can tell you that's a good lead time. We have other projects in the state that we have a 56-week lead time. So it's over a year to get our equipment.
So
I would, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So might I suggest, because of the generator being 1 year for the large, why do we, I mean, we've already talked about that, and it was already stated that I think that that's what we really wanted.
Mhm.
Why do we even consider, let's order that sucker now,
Get the top.
instead of even kind of contemplating on the 3 small generators and have to go through a complete design restructure?
I couldn't have said it better.
Well, and
I agree, and our engineer's looking at it now, and so he sent over some preliminary comments, knowing that we were going to have this meeting. And he's like, and he said, there's some NIC requirements that it doesn't meet just right off the bat. He says he's going to look at it a little bit more, and I'll know for sure by our bond meeting next week whether or not that's actually a feasible thing. And if not, yeah, I agree. Let's order it. The nice thing about the way that the electrical upgrade's designed is that the transfer switch can operate. We can install it, we can get all the conductors in, and we can just have it ready for the generator to start. The generator does not have to be there in order to initiate the overall power upgrade portion. So it's not like we're going to be all hooked up and ready to go, and we can't switch the wires across to upgrade without the generator. We can do that without the generator being in place. We can come in and post install that, no problem, when it shows up. So that's not on the critical path of the completion of the power service upgrade, is what I'm saying.
So could the generator run the system without the transformer?
Actually, the
the
generator
transformer
does
before
not
we get the
require the
generator.
transformer, to my knowledge. I could be wrong about that, but
So I mean, we actually could run our own power.
it's awful expensive.
Awful
The
expensive,
diesel.
Yeah.
really expensive.
Yeah.
I have 250 gallons of propane, and I figure I have 6 days worth of power.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry I got off track.
okay, my question is it possible to have that HVAC ready so when that transformer hits in December is when crap gets really cold?
That's what he said. was
Okay.
It would
Sorry,
it would all
missed
be
that.
ready and hooked up.
Yes,
Okay.
the only outlier is the gymnasium RTU. And I've instructed my engineer to specify something that is a off-the-shelf RTU and not a custom RTU.
Define
So
RTU.
an RTU is a rooftop unit.
Okay.
And that's like the big, like, boxes that you see on top of the roofs.
Mhm.
That is a integrated heating and cooling unit, an HVAC unit. If you can get one that is a standard unit, they have those manufactured. Some of them are warehoused. Others, if they don't have to customize it quickly, you can order them custom. I've instructed my engineer to basis of design to design around one that is a standard so that we don't have a long lead time on it. In regards to the mini splits that will go in the classrooms, those are readily available still. And we can, once we get the documentation, then they can start installing them room by room. And the strategy that we have is that there'll be a panel that replaces one of the window units in each classroom that they can put the mini split and the condenser and basically build it as a piece and then come in, remove the window, and then basically put it in as a panel and have it all be set. So it'll be minimal interruption if it's being done during school time to the classroom, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that's the approach we're taking on that.
I guess my question in regards to that, Scott, is have you done your calculations on the existing ductwork? Do we need to replace all that ductwork in the gymnasium?
So there's some ductwork that goes from the existing unit over the top of the stage and into the gym. We've done that Matterport modeling, and we have the duct sizes, and the engineer is looking at to see if that is adequate for the flows that we need. I told him that if we need to come out and he needs to do that, that he needs to do that. And he's amenable to that. He wants to make sure that we can save every penny that we can. Right now we have all the loads calculated for the classrooms, and we verified that. We had to do that initially at the very beginning so that we could figure out what the electrical load would be. So we're working on that. We're working on some of the details. So yes, he may need to come out and do that. He's aware of what those duct sizes are now, and he's seeing that if he can get those to work and maintain them.
Okay, keep us posted on that.
You bet.
So is that the end of our meeting with Scott and Derek,
Scott, do you still have things to present,
or Derek?
or Derek?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I was just going to tell you that I've been in contact with the county. They've had people on vacation. The comprehensive conditional use gal has been on vacation for 3 weeks. She's returning the 6th. I've called her predecessor. They just need to put the letter together. I'm not sure why they're not being very responsive, but I'm on it. I'm bugging them. I think that the approach will be that if they are dragging their feet, they've had it for 3 months and 2 weeks, permits for the power panel room and hallway. Normally you get in other places in Oregon, you get a permit in about 4 to 6 weeks. In Idaho, you get one in about 2 weeks. So I'm not sure why they're taking so long.
Well,
Benton County.
I appreciate you saying that and expressing your frustration,
Because
because
they're
I'm
Benton
extremely
County.
frustrated at this point. I have visited individually with all 3 commissioners, and we've talked about the permitting process and what's at stake here. And so it sounds like I'm going to revisit with the commissioners about this and see what they can do to shake this loose, because we're under a timeline and we have to move forward with these.
Well, and the other thing I've done in other districts when this has happened is we just start. And we tell them that we're going, and you send the inspector out and you check it. And then when the permit comes, you put all the inspection tags in the folder when you guys get around to getting it done. And you kind of force their hand a little bit. I mean, we've been more than accommodating to them. I mean, it's not that big of a project, and 3.5 months is ridiculous.
Yeah, so
It's absolutely ridiculous. for
I'll
the
work
review.
from my
I've
end.
worked all over the Western United States for 40 some odd years. You guys are the worst I ever messed with, period. I mean, for my own outfits, for a couple dozen other outfits, worst I ever saw.
Anybody
Never.
tried to contact the legal counsel of Benton County, speak to the attorney of Benton County?
Not tried that approach.
Talk to the attorney of Benton County.
Are you sure that you would
Because-
have any jurisdiction over this?
Me?
No,
Oh,
the attorney.
well, I know that the attorneys work with all legal aspects of land use issues.
Yeah,
And so maybe there's, I mean, commissioners are your top priority because they're the ones that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, like, if you're not getting anywhere even with the commissioners.
well,
So,
they did.
so,
We
so the
did make
land-
some- we did make
Sorry.
some progress with the commissioners, and we were able to shake loose some of our other permits the very next day after I visited with one of them. And so I'm a little perplexed as to why we're still waiting on these, because that was the conversation I had with all three commissioners, is that they're going to make sure that things were moving forward.
Yeah.
So this gives me
So-
cause to revisit with them again and say.
yeah, so the school district did their temporary office, and we bundled the temporary office underneath the conditional use with the bond work for efficiency. And we got approval last month to do that from
Yeah.
them. And we got the permit. So they don't break the permit loose until the land use is okay. And so the land use is okay because they've done that.
Right.
So the land use and the comprehensive conditional use portion, in my mind, is just done. It's fine. There were no comments in the public meeting. We're
Right.
good.
Right.
It's the structural, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing review that is taking a long time. I mean, this hallway that we need to get permitted is 600 square feet. And it's addition. And the plans are dialed. Everything's there. We have the floodplain. We've filed everything. I haven't heard a comment, nothing.
So Scott, can you formulate that in an email to me personally? And then I will formulate a memo and the discussion with the commissioners.
Absolutely. I would be
Okay.
happy to do that.
Okay,
I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean,
yeah,
it's baffling. They're taking longer to do the review than it took me to conceptualize, do all of the drawings, do all the engineering, put it all together, put the application together, get it to them. Taking longer than it took to actually do it. So,
yeah. So I'll try that first, but I think it's a good idea on legal. We might have our attorney talk to their attorney. And one of the things that I talked to the commissioners about is I said, if this doesn't move forward, then do you realize how many unhappy voters are out here? And they kind of paid attention to that. I said, listen, we've got to shake this loose because we're under a timeline. And we can't agree with your excuse of, well, we just don't have enough people on board. I'm just not going to tolerate that. And I had a very frank conversation with them. And yes, I will take them a plate of cookies. That's a good idea.
Well, the other thing is,
Yeah.
I just looked it up, and the Benton County attorney, not district attorney, but the county
Yes.
counsel,
Hmm.
is Vance Crony. And when I was president of Corvallis Little League, he was one of my coaches.
Oh, he was.
Yes, he was.
Oh, maybe I'll loop you in the conversation.
If you wish,
Yeah,
I may stop by his office tomorrow. I'm
that
going
would
to
be
town
fine too.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Take him some cookies.
He likes hot dogs better.
Okay. We can do that. We can do that.
Ballpark hot dogs.
Absolutely.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
So it sounds like, Scott, you're putting together some timelines for us to look at. We need to follow up on permits. You're going to keep us posted on the electrical with the generators.
Yeah. Yep.
Are there other aspects that we should be talking about today with Scott and Derek present? Other
We want to
questions?
figure out that total required current draw, that's for sure. That's a hugie.
Yeah, it's a big one. I'd
I'm,
agree with you.
I'm in disbelief at a 2,000 watt generator. Or a 2,000 amp,
Amp. Yeah,
but yeah, 2,000 watt, yeah, that's easy.
right,
You
right,
know, but
right. Yeah, 2,000 amps. is
But
big.
yeah, one 100 watt light bulb at 100 volts draws 1 amp.
Yeah.
The world around. But, you know, obviously you don't have to have the whole 2,000 amps. How much of that do you have to have? Yeah, I'd look at that real careful. That's money. Big.
Yes. So the electrical engineer I'm working with, the principal of the firm has been doing it for 30 years. He's the one that's doing all of this work. I'm a smaller firm, so when we talk and we do our projects, all the principles of mechanical, electrical, and us do the work ourselves. And that's part of the reason that we can be so efficient. My electrical engineer is probably the best electrical engineer I've ever met. I'm sure we're okay. I'll convey the concern to him, but he has a federal contract doing all of the control towers for the feds for all the airport upgrades, for example. He's a brilliant guy. So
I'm sure anybody licensed could handle it. Even licensed, much less.
So
Yeah.
Scott, can I ask you one question? Because I think time is of the essence. So that you guys could get back to us as soon as possible on ordering this generator so that we can bring it to the board and get their approval.
yeah. Yep.
So we've got, what, a week?
Yes.
Well, yeah, the next board meeting is June 9th. Do you think you'd have an answer before that, Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
So-
looking at it. I sent it to him a couple of days ago when Derek sent me the verbiage and what the potential approach would be. And he sent it to me about an hour ago and he's like, maybe, but he has some NIC concerns about switching and some voltage stuff. And so I said, well, dig a little bit deeper and see if you can see any, real potential problems. And he said, okay, so I'll touch bases with him tomorrow and then have him reprioritize it and get you an answer.
Okay. So
Screaming
Luke?
Army freaking 40 kW. I think that's a 6-cylinder diesel that you used to run a missile system with. That'll put out 400 amp. And I'm just, wow, what in the hell kind of generator are you going to get to put out 2,000? They make 60 kWs in the Army, but that's all. Anyway, yeah.
wow.
more unnecessary details. Yeah, I'm sure.
So Scott, why don't you email me when you have news on that, and then I'll make sure I distribute it to the Bond Oversight Committee so they know what's going on. And we can also talk on the phone.
Sounds great.
Can I throw something out real quick?
Yes.
As we're making these panels, because essentially the panel rooms are new, and I understand all the old wiring, we're retrofitting, connecting back into all the old wiring. But if we are patching or putting the panels together in groups of the 40K total, so we match all the 110 power to make a daisy chain of 40K panels together, and then one generator hooks up to that 40K part, you don't need a daisy chain, you don't need to do all that stuff because that one generator runs those panels. And you would do that 5 times. And I just sent an email to, there's natural gas ones, there's propane, there is the diesel. And right now there's the Generac 45K for $16,000. And so with 5 of those, you'd have your over 2,000 generators, right? All right, for 45 watts. So I think with 5 of those, you would be able to get your enough power, and then you're daisy chaining the panels per generator, and you're not trying to bring all the power into one box. You separate them out. So.
Yeah, and I don't know how that works. I don't know if you can daisy chain them together, or if you need 5 transfer switches. I
You'd
don't
have
know how
5
that.
transfer. Right, you'd have 5 transfer switches.
So
Yeah,
Scott,
so-
we'll talk more about this. I've got a lot of questions. And it comes from my engineering background. So we'll talk more about this, and maybe we can loop in the engineer in the conversation, because I think we really need to evaluate how we're providing power to the building for emergency purposes and in what capacity. So we can talk about this more.
Sounds great.
All right, awesome. I guess that's it, Scott. That's it, Derek, for this meeting with us. I do have patron comments. Anybody have any comments that they'd like to discuss? I guess there is no comments at this moment. People
Yeah,
outside
could you
of us.
send me a link to the next meeting? You know, that it's a hassle to punch that all into the computer. I got the link to this meeting off of Facebook page. Pam, somebody.
You send it
posted
to,
it.
Did you send an email, Shirley, to him? Okay, Chris, do we not have your correct email? We sent you an email with the link
Yeah,
personally.
I got the dates, but I didn't get the link. I don't think.
well,
Well,
yeah,
please check.
yeah, check, because we're almost positive we
Yeah,
sent you the
absolutely.
link. Let us know if it didn't come through, so we know to make sure we pay attention to that better next time. But yeah, double check and see, because we sent you a link on that.
I got the one from you, Shirley, and Chris was on the distro.
Yeah, so did I.
Huh. Maybe I just didn't get it. Oh, wait a minute. Here's something I think. Yeah, here it is. Bond meeting tonight. I didn't get the tonight part. Yep, I got it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
good,
you.
good.
Keep doing that, okay?
Good.
So you'll
Thank you.
always get it. You'll always get it, okay?
Yeah, I was too busy trying to type it all in and kludge my way around the stupid
Awesome.
computer again.
All right.
I just want to express my gratitude for you guys. I appreciate you being a part of this committee and lending your insight, and your thoughts and your questions. To me, that's good. Because,
Thank you.
even with Scott working on it, and Derek and myself and Keenan, sometimes we miss things. And you also represent the community in terms of the questions that you
We can
have.
be a pain in the ass too, Sean.
Then I'll feed you cookies.
So
Do I
does
look
any
like
of
I need
the
cookies?
committee members here have any discussion that they would like to speak of?
We addressed the ones I had in mind. We already addressed the ones I had. in
I'm
mind.
concerned about this generator thing, not only just because of the increase in complexity, but that we're getting even more pushback from the architect and engineering and all of that. And there's other ways we can go. I'll take a look. One thing is GSA excess, and the military goes through perfectly good stuff all the time. And I'm sure they've got a 2,000 watt generator or 2,000 amp generator out there somewhere, probably even palletized.
Well, I just looked up online. There's 10 or 15 of them that are anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000. There are 250 kW generators.
Yeah.
So
And that's what I,
There's availability.
there's availability.
Yeah, well, there's more complexity than that involved.
Yeah,
There's
there is.
load shedding, there's transfer switches, and
yes.
all of that stuff.
250 kW is what.
Yeah.
Is more than enough. According to
There's the warranty.
But that's used.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
So buy two of them.
So yeah, Scott, I think we need to explore some of those options and take a look at those things.
Yep, no problem.
Good input. This is what,
Awesome.
that's why I'm glad you guys are here.
well, I could do some research work too with my
Okay.
electricians and talk to them and see what we use
Yeah, please do.
for our buildings.
Please do. Let's put a bunch of eyeballs on this.
Is there going to be a board meeting in July?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
the 14th.
Should be the second Thursday of the month, right?
Okay. So
Yeah.
our next meeting, I've got it, it's July 14th. So our
Okay.
next meeting would be July 6th.
I guess it will be one.
Yes. Wow. So everyone, it's here. It's going to be July 6th here at the library, 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
So I propose we adjourn the meeting. Thank you,
I so
everyone.
move.
Yeah, move it. Second it.
Second.
We're done. Awesome. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate everyone.